Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 4. Before we get into it, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post a video. So, we start off this episode with Nicole going over to Martin and Smitty. So, they're all still waiting on the blood test the blood test results. So she decides to go over to Martin and Smitty's house just to be with family and focus on family. So when she gets there, everybody's on their devices. Martin, Smitty, and Tyrell, they're all on their devices. So she tells them, get off your devices. I have breakfast. I want to come spend time with family. I also want to talk to Samantha about the cotillion. Samantha's still sleeping. So she has Tyrell go and wake Samantha up. So he wakes Samantha up. She comes down and she's like, all like, I don't want to do anything, I'm still tired. Thank you for the breakfast, but whatever. And then Nicole is just like, well, I came here. She'll just like, wake up. And I came here so we can discuss cotillion. And she wakes up and she's all happy. She's just like, oh my God, I'm so ready. Da, 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 all this other stuff. And then she's just like, but I feel bad that, I'm excited about this while great grand is going through what she's going through. And she'll just like, should we still do it? And Nicola was just like, yes, we should do it. We're still gonna do it. Great grand is going through this, but she would want us to continue living. So we're gonna get it, we're gonna get to it. So Tyrell butts in and he's like, giving pushback against the cotillion, and he's talking about how bougie people and how they have house managers and all this other stuff. And Martin is just like, who you think you talking to? Martin is that black parent. So he was just like, apologize to your grand because is you cool? And Nicole is just like, no, it's okay, and she asked him like, what's his issue with it or whatever. And he explains his issue, and again, he like, he's talking about bougie people and all this other stuff. And Martin again jumps in like, apologize, like quit being rude. And Nicole is just like, no, I asked him for his opinion. He gave it to me, so I can't be mad at him for his opinion. So they go back and forth and they talk about the significance of the cotillion. And Tyrell is like, well, you guys stole it from the white people. And she breaks it down what the cotillion is and how she gives him a history lesson on cotillions and how black people didn't have things and they decided to forge their own path, and this is what they do and this is how they is. She talks about the D9 sororities and the fraternities and how they give back and all these other things, just basically telling him to like, you see one side, but do you see the other side, basically? And he's just like, you've given me things to think about. And he was just like, but I don't think I can take, I can change Jessica's mind because Samantha was just like, no, because Martin was just like, I've never heard you talk like this. Like, what's the issue? And Samantha was just like, it's Jessica. Like, that's what's changing his mind about everything and changing who he is because he's trying to appease Jessica. And Martin is just like, I mean, I've seen people wide open behind, like, your nose is wide behind a girl, but golly, like, come on, sir. So he tells Nicole that she's giving him something to think about, but he doesn't think that he can change Jessica's mind. And Nicole was just like, well, you've given me something to think about. And you've given me something to think about, and it just have Jessica call me so that I could talk to her and I can see what the real issue is and why she feels the way she feels. And each generation should be able to talk to each generation, and we can learn from each generation as long as we listen to each generation. So Nicole leaves, Samantha and Terrell, they go to their rooms, and Martin and Smitty are talking, and Martin is upset because he's just like, um, Tyrell is basically changing who he is because of the girl that he's talking to. Like, at First it was talking about the colleges, like he don't want to go to Banneker no more. He wants to go to UCLA because Jessica wants to go. Now he's talking about the cotillions and how being behind the gates is such a bad thing and all this other stuff. And he basically doesn't like it. And Smitty is basically telling him he has to grow up. He has to learn on his own. He has to figure it out on his own, basically. So we see Dani at the club with Vanessa, and Vanessa's checking on her, making sure she's okay, checking that she's, that everything's good with her or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I'm leaning on my husband, and Bill is also helping. And Vanessa was just like, oh, hold up, like, why are we mentioning Bill? Like, who cares about Bill? Don't fall back down that path. Please don't fall back down that path, basically. Don't go to what you know as opposed to what you got, basically. Like, leave him where he's at. Like, you have something better that you have, that you need to move forward with that. And please, Dani, listen, because we do not need to go back down on that merry-go-round with Bill. We really don't. We see Ashley on the phone with her mom. She's taking a personal call, and Shanice walks up behind her. She gets off the phone, and then she doesn't. Shanice doesn't say anything, and so Ashley is just like, "Well, why didn't you ain't say nothing? Like, what's up? Like, normally you would be the dictator and be like, get off your phone, da da da, all this other stuff." And Shanice is just like, "Well, like I would have your back if a doctor comes up and saw that, whatever." And Ashley's just like, what's this? And so Ted comes up, and they're flirting, talking about a patient, but also flirting or whatever. And Ashley clocks it. So she comes to her, and she's just like, so what was that I saw? Oh, okay. So we flirting. Oh, I see. Trying to clock her tea. So Shanice tells her that they kissed on New Year's, and they've been flirting with each other or whatever. So Ashley is just like, oh, okay, I see. So you don't want to tell your tea, but you want to take everybody else's tea. But okay, I see what's going on with you and Ted and all this other stuff. So she starts to ask her questions, and Shanice doesn't answer it. And then she tells her, you have work to do. Like, can you check to get these blood results from, whatever. And she asked who the patients are, and she tells her, and she was just like, oh, so you weren't trying to tell me because of HIPAA or whatever. And so Ashley calls Naomi to check on her, but she leaves her a message because Naomi doesn't answer or whatever. So uh then we see Ted getting ready to go on the elevator, and he runs into Vernon, and Vernon tells him, oh, I was talking to the chief of staff or whatever, to see if they can rush the blood results. And Ted is just like, I'm gonna be there for you guys. I'm gonna be there for my kids. I'm gonna be there for Nicole. I'm gonna be there or whatever. And Vernon was just like, I'm so, basically, I'm proud that you want to be there for our family or whatever. And I thought I would have thought that you wouldn't because you're no longer part of it or whatever. So they come to terms, whatever. We see Shanice and Ted getting ready to get back on the elevator, and Shanice is about to walk down the stairs because she's just like, yeah, I'm not getting on the elevator no more, because they had got stuck in the elevator together. And he was just like, no, just take a chance. So they get on the elevator together, and then as the doors are closing, they look at each other like they're about to kiss or whatever. So we then run into Leslie, and Leslie is at the casino, and she runs into Randy, and Randy is basically telling her the casino's closed. And she was just like, well, I have a meeting with Joey. And he was just like, oh, okay. So he go get to Joey. Joey comes in, and Joey tells her, I'll go in on the business with you, but I'm gonna need something in return. And she's like, yeah, I see, you got Vanessa, but I know you want somebody like a freak in the sheet, basically. But I just started something new, so I can't give you none or whatever. And he laughs at her like, girl, I don't want nothing from you. Don't touch me. Like, girl, I don't need nothing. And he was just like, so that's how you got Teddy. And she was just like, so that's how you got Teddy. And this scene was funny. The way he said Teddy, and you could tell he was laughing because he broke character and laughed. But he basically tells her, I don't want you. I'm fine with what I got. You were not it. And it was just like, girl, again, there you go, throwing yourself as somebody who's taken. And it's just like, ma'am, what is we doing? Like, you, there is much more to you than just that. Like, I hate that for her. And I hate that she gave that to her daughter, because what? So he tells her, I don't want you. Again, I don't want you. What I want is, we're going to dedicate this free clinic in the name of Doug McBride. And she was just like, you want to dedicate it to the late husband of the lady that you smashing now? Oh, okay. So you must feel bad about what you did. And he was just like, what are you talking about? And she was just like, you feeling bad that you messing with the woman, and you messing with her, and her husband hasn't even been her husband hasn't even been gone for long. And he was just like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, okay, whatever. And she was just like, I'll compromise. We can name a room after him. And he was just like, okay. So we then see him in his office, and he's looking at he's looking on the iPad about the like the idea for the free clinic. And he was just like, the first thing we're going to do is change this name, because she wants to name it the Leslie Thomas Outreach Program, or something like the LTOP. That's what she wants to name it. And he's like, we're changing this. And Vanessa comes in or whatever, and so he gives her the good news that, hey, we're I'm gonna go into business with Leslie or whatever. And she's so excited and all this other stuff. And it was just like, there she go again, being the op, because no ma'am. No ma'am. Like, you got it, Vanessa, you have enough money to go into business. Well, I wouldn't even want you to go into business with her either, because she is still the op. Like, no, but Vanessa is the op, just like Naomi is the op. Nicole has to have an op, and Dani got to have an op, and it's their best friend and a daughter. So I guess it is what it is. So we see Leslie. She's at the bar. Um, I forgot what that bar is called, but she's at, is it Uptown? Wherever that bar is, she's there, and she's like getting a celebratory drink. And Malone, like, she calls Malone, and she tells him, the Duprees are coming to me, and with they hat in hand, asking me for money. And it's just like, no, the Duprees didn't come to you. An adopted child came to you, and you stole her idea. But I digress. Um, So she was just like, yeah, the Duprees are coming to me, and now I'm going into business with Joey, and they're gonna, people are gonna see me or whatever. And he was just like, okay, well, be careful and make sure he's funding this with his legitimate money. And don't cross him. And she's just like, basically saying, when my back's up against the wall, nobody better cross me either. He was just like, is that a confession? And she was just like, it's a confession how you want to take it, or something like that. But yeah, so they kiss, and Randy walks into the bar, and he sees them kissing. So it's just like, okay, so where is that gonna go? So is he gonna run and tell Joey? Like, is Malone telling? Like, we gonna see. Look, we gonna see where that's gonna go. So we see, who do we see next? Oh, we see Vernon. He comes to the country club, and he sees Dani, and Dani's checking on him, making sure he's okay. And because she's there working on, she's doing some work or whatever for her job, for her company, for the modeling agency. And he's checking on her, and he's, making sure she's good, just like she's making sure he's good. And she's telling him how Vanessa was telling her to stay away from Bill and lean on your husband, and he agrees. And he's just like, Bill is that worn out tennis shoe that you got to throw away, and Andre is the Louboutin that you got to keep, basically. So she's just like, I hear you, I understand, I'm with you, I get it. So that was Yeah, that was pretty much the episode. So, yeah, not a lot happened on this episode. This again was another quiet episode. Not a lot happened, but enough happened to move story along. The like just with the other episode, the thing that I liked the most in this episode was the Nicole, Martin, Smitty, Tyrell, and Jessica scene. Like those were really good scenes. Giving the history lesson on the haves and the have-nots and the cotillion and what people like what the haves have done and just it was a real good it was good little like a good it was like a good history not history lesson but it was a good takeaway to take away from the episode. I really really liked it. So far these episodes for season 2 have been like on point. There hasn't been a dull episode even with the people that I don't like. It still ain't been a dull episode. So yeah, that's it. Make sure again that you are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you know whenever I post. And get down in the comments, tell me what you thought about this episode. And I will see you guys in the next one.